As the 2024 US presidential race heats up, gender divides are surfacing between candidates Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. While Trump commands significant support among male voters, Harris is favored by women, reflecting a cultural shift following years of social change and gender-related debates. This gender gap could be decisive, influencing not only the election's outcome but also societal norms on gender roles and expectations. Kamala Harris's historic nomination as the first woman of color to run for US president is shaping a campaign defined by gender issues. Despite efforts by Harris to focus on her qualifications rather than her identity, public sentiment has underscored the role of gender in this election. As she said in a recent interview, and I quote, "I'm running because I believe I am the best person to do this job for all Americans, regardless of race and gender." Still, both her supporters and critics recognize that, for some voters, the prospect of a female president remains a barrier. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte and US President Joe Biden have openly discussed the barriers women face in leadership roles, a topic that Harris avoids directly addressing in her campaign. Harris's team acknowledges hidden sexism in the political landscape, noting that some voters hesitate to support a woman for president. Democratic strategists interpret responses from voters who call Harris unready or lacking personality as veiled gender biases. This mirrors challenges Hillary Clinton faced during her 2016 presidential run, where many voters admitted feeling uneasy about a female president. Meanwhile, Harris's race adds another layer as she becomes only the second woman and the first woman of color to get this close to the Oval Office. However, her campaign avoids highlighting her identity, likely to keep focus on her policies and qualifications. Donald Trump's campaign resonates with a considerable portion of male voters, tapping into concerns about masculinity and perceived erosion of traditional gender roles. Trump's rhetoric, including locker room humor and stories of masculine alpha figures, appeals to men who feel left behind by progressive social changes. His recent comment that manhood is under attack resonates among young men who see cultural shifts as challenging traditional male identity. Some analysts suggest that male support for Trump reflects backlash against movements like Me Too, which raised awareness about gender inequities, but to some implied a loss of male agency. Polls indicate that male voters, especially younger men, are frustrated perceiving Democrats as overly focused on women, minorities, and LGBTQ+ issues with little regard for young men's concerns. Since 2016, young men have expressed dissatisfaction with rapid social changes, including women's advancements in education and the workforce. Harvard Institute of Politics polling director John Della Volpe argues that these men, often supportive of gender equality, feel unheard. Their frustrations reflect broader issues such as declining college enrollment, higher suicide rates, and reduced relationship stability compared to their female peers. These frustrations contribute to a stark gender divide. A CBS News poll shows that men increasingly believe that gender equality efforts have gone too far and lean towards Trump, while women, feeling these efforts haven't gone far enough, tend to support Harris. Harris's campaign highlights her qualifications rather than her identity, aiming to sidestep gender bias and focus on her policies. She has enlisted figures like Liz Cheney, a Republican congresswoman and Trump critic, to appeal to conservative women. While she doesn't emphasize being a woman on the campaign trail, her allies don't shy away from addressing gender directly. Barack Obama, for instance, urged voters to recognize unconscious biases against a female president. The 2024 US election is more than a contest between Trump and Harris. It's a referendum on gender dynamics, modern masculinity, and evolving societal roles. Trump's focus on traditional masculinity contrasts sharply with Harris's inclusive message. For voters this November, the choice between these candidates represents divergent perspectives on the place of men and women in a rapidly changing America. With polls showing Trump leading among men by 14% and Harris holding a 12% lead among women, gender is at the forefront of this race. For some, this election is about leadership, policies, and qualifications. For others, it's about the fundamental question of who should lead in a world where gender roles are still contested. For more updates and analysis on the 2024 US presidential elections, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the official YouTube channel of the Indian Express.